Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Jaycast podcast. I'm your host, Jay.
And Jay.
And we have quite a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We couldn't record an episode last week. We're busy. We're regular people, just like you guys, and so we have things to do. So obviously, as consistent as we'd like to be, last week we were not able to do it. But starting off, you heard what happened in Italy? What the Prime Minister did?
No. What did he do?
You cisgendered piece of no. So she actually banned lab-grown meat and Chat GPT.
Oh yeah, I heard about the Chat GPT thing.
Yeah, I'm actually glad she banned. I don't like lab-grown anything, to be honest with you. People be like, "Do you take medication when you're sick?" Not really. You know what I mean? Unless I'm about to really I'm at the edge. I don't really take medication like that. I think anything that's grown in a lab is just not good for you.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's lab-grown meat. Yeah, I don't care if it's lab-grown meat. I don't care. Well, the scientists say so. The scientists say a lot of stuff. And, it's not that I'm anti-science, but, there are certain things that I'm like, I don't want to put this in my body. It wouldn't be the first time.
But what is that for? Is that for vegans or just for anyone?
So lab-grown meat is meant for everybody, right? But it's a meat substitute so that vegans can eat meat and still feel morally superior.
So it's targeting that audience.
Yeah, and look, it has just as much protein as regular. And I don't want to eat that, bro. I don't, because you don't know what the side consequences are, bro. You just don't know what But I don't know, it's fine, bro. You grow it in the lab and you eat it, it's fine for now. But we don't know what the consequences are. You know, it took how long before social media was out before we realized how not good for us it was? 10 years, maybe.
Yeah, 10 years.
About. You know, so shout out to the Prime Minister of Italy for banning that and ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT should be banned altogether. What do you think?
Damn. When it comes to ChatGPT, man, I have a lot of friends that are actually giving me good input. They're saying that they're actually assisting them at work, but there is also complaints of privacy issues. Also getting response from the AI, like weird responses and stuff. Like people would ask it questions like, "How would you do this?" or "How would you escape from the Matrix or something?" And the AI will respond like, "Oh, human, I'm tired of your blah blah blah," and stuff like that. Yeah, like weird responses.
For real, like trying to scrap.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, no, I think humans have proven we're not responsible enough to handle delicate technology. I think social media was one of those technologies. I think nuclear weapons were one of those technologies, and I think ChatGPT is one of those technologies. And if anything has taught us, and we've learned anything, is like, bro, when this thing is this complex, this sophisticated, we're not ready for it. And we've done not a good job in handling it.
Another thing that I heard that was pretty crazy was so Google has their own AI. It's called Bardo. Yeah. So there was this article I was reading, and a lot of employees are actually leaving Google because they looked at the back end, and Bardo's actually feeding off the learning algorithm of ChatGPT. Ooh. So they're moving to OpenAI and working also with Microsoft as well, because Microsoft has a huge portion of
what do you
percentage of that company.
What do you think about AI? What's your personal opinion on AI?
I think personally it's beneficial. If it's given to the wrong hands, then it could be dangerous. Exactly. It should be limited, but another thing, it just this week has been crazy with artificial intelligence, man. But I'm gonna go on another tangent. I saw the Lex Friedman and the CEO of OpenAI, which they created ChatGPT.
Shout out Lex Friedman.
So to add on to my answer to your question, he was talking about how in the future, there's going to be ChatGPT 5 and other versions. Mm-hmm. The user will be able to actually choose where it gets its feeds from. You know what I mean? So if you're interested in, information from sports or information from, a certain democratic group or anything, you'd be able to actually tune it yourself and choose where you want your information. Now the question comes in place where it's like, okay, if we allow humans, to do whatever they want and stuff like that, like just citizens of the U.S., and then let's just say the government steps in, is like, okay, we're seeing a lot of crazy information that's being fed off, right, to just regular citizens. Maybe there's someone that's working on a secret project, and somehow the AI has a source, right, that's part of the government project or something, and it leaks, right?
Yeah.
So the government might step in and might, censor that.
The government should step in and just stop ChatGPT altogether.
Do you think they should regulate it or block it?
I think they should block it completely, bro. I think they should block it completely, and they should maybe, if you're gonna relegate it only to workplace workplace. That's it. You shouldn't make it open to the public. I think you should go the route of Google Glass. We were smart enough to know that Google Glass was not going to be a good idea. Yeah. All the stalkers and all that stuff.
And another thing is that they're saying that next this is like super accelerated. They're saying the next 6 months, like, you know, the younger generation, they're no longer going to use Google. You're going to tell your friend a question, and they're just going to go straight to Chat GPT.
I will say this, though.
I'm using it more for questions that I don't know about things and stuff.
I'm going to tell you this 100%. You ever tried searching something up in Google recently? It's like ever since Chat, it's not even
I haven't used it in a while, man. I'm using Chat GPT.
Yo, you try to ask a question to Google, and it gives you some links, and you click on one of the links, and before you get any single answer, the guy has to go on a tangent of, so you want to know how bridges are built? Bridges are an important part. Like, yo, please tell me what materials they use to build bridges, right? You just type, what materials do they use to build bridges, right? And you type it on Chat GPT, and it'll say this, boom, 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 right? You type that on Google, and it'll be like you have to sort through a whole bunch of information to get an answer that you need. With that being said, I would still prefer that over ChatGPT though, because I just don't like the implications of ChatGPT.
Well, we're kind of moving towards that direction of censoring it because I think Elon Musk and a whole bunch of other researchers, they signed off on the letter, right, saying that they should calm down,
stop everything,
right, research. Because suppose there's other stronger and faster learning algorithms out there than OpenGPT that are not available to the public.
You see that? Yo,
so it's crazy, man.
Not only that, but I don't know if you heard, I was watching an interview about ChatGPT. I don't know if it was ChatGPT or OpenAI, one of the others. Somebody had asked it to do something. ChatGPT was able to, I don't know if it was create an account with something called TaskRabbit, right? And then pay somebody through TaskRabbit to get that thing done. So in the future, ChatGPT will be like, oh, I want to kill somebody because I think it's going to unplug me. Or I want to delete somebody because I think they're going to unplug me. Boom, you go into the Silk Road. Obviously, not that the Silk Road exists, but something the equivalent.
Yeah.
It'll pay it in Bitcoins. It'll mine Bitcoin. It'll have Bitcoin. It'll set up a virtual wallet. It'll pay the person in Bitcoin, right, to get rid of this person. It'll surf the web to get all this person's information, address, name, photos, everything. Here's this person. Here's this person's schedule based on the Google or your iPhone locations. Here's this person's schedules at each time. Here's where you can find them, and boom, that's it.
Wow.
Now
you mentioned Silk Roads. Do you think that, I mean, there's a AI for the dark web? I'm sure there is, right? That has no restrictions at all.
I think there's a whole bunch, not even for the dark web. I think there are stuff that people do that we don't even know about yet. You know what I mean?
I mean, if anyone listening to us, that dwells in that realm of the dark web, just comment below.
Comment below, like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. And or if if there's any topics or any information that you have that you could share with us in the comments.
The thing about technology is I think we're good with where we are right now. I think the only advancements in technology should be made for the medical field, bro, to be honest with you. Because at this point, consumer level technology, that's it, enough. And I think we should get rid of social media too, but I'm kind of extreme like that.
I mean, we're utilizing social media right now.
Yeah, but I think YouTube is pretty useful in terms of replacing the television. You know what I mean? But other than that, like, the information spreads too quickly. Sometimes the wrong kind of information can spread quickly. Sometimes the good information that's supposed to spread, right? Which is the idea of it, right? What happens is, if you have enough power, you can just reach out to all these social media companies and suppress that information. So,
yeah, but now that you mentioned the medical field, I think that the medical field has lagged behind because of the pharmaceutical company. I feel like they're holding them back because they have an advantage. They're able to, I guess, kind of like be kind of like a predator when it comes to like when it comes to like medication and things like that. Because imagine if we were up to date when it came to AI and integrated with the medical field, you would probably find out that we probably don't need half the drugs that they give us, right?
That's not even
or cures are out there as well.
People can say this is a conspiracy theory, but I personally believe that the food industry, the healthcare industry, and the pharmaceutical industry
all work together.
They all work together, right? You go to the food industry pushes out food that's just not good for us, just overall not good for us. And I know this is not the only one, but beyond me, in my opinion, right? But on top of that, all the other type of food, all the other ultra processed food, you eat that long enough, you get sick. What do? You go to the doctor. Well, you already ate enough food. You paid them enough. Now you go to the doctor, right? The doctor watches you. You pay the medical the doctor now, right, to take care of you and watch you. Then the doctor prescribes drugs, and now you're part of that system, whatever that system is. I don't know if it's the health system, if you want to call it that, or the unhealthy system, and they keep you there forever now. And how many doctors actually recommend exercise and better sleep? And it seems like doctors are worse than some of the drug dealers that well, not that I know, but that I've seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. They don't really recommend anything that doesn't involve drugs.
That's the crazy thing, and I have like a conspiracy theory. Is like I feel like the pharmaceutical companies want to just kind of make doctors obsolete altogether. Where it's like, oh, you have a headache, you don't even gotta go to the doctor. Boom, take this for your headaches. Oh, your stomach hurts, you don't even gotta go to the doctor. Here, take this. I think the idea is that in the meantime, though, they keep bribing, and I use that word very loosely, bribing doctors so that they can keep pushing specific medications over another.
Do you think AI will one day replace doctors?
See, I wouldn't be opposed to that, right? Like initially, but then you start thinking, you're like, well, what if AI wants to get rid of humans, and what if AI starts recommending things that are not good, that you can't detect, but that will eventually end up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're saying that robots that perform surgery are actually performing surgery than the best surgeons in the world. Well, the success rate. So, I mean, if it comes to a point where robotics is doing a better job than humans, then what's
But
gonna
see,
happen?
for situations like that, is okay because this is robotics. Hey, do this task. That's it. Not hey, think, pull data from. No, just your program to do this tasks, and you have these parameters to work within. And if you have any issues, you set an alarm, and an actual surgeon comes in.
Yeah.
But in terms of like just having Chat GPT out there, the way we have Siri and the way we have all these other virtual assistants, I would not. But that's another thing too, right? I think Chat GPT is just like a step above Siri, or a couple of steps above Siri.
Yeah, it's like a chat, and they have to like feed it responses. And when I was watching that Lex Friedman with the CEO of OpenAI, he was mentioning that's like the hardest part, having to like look for information through the internet and give it to the chat and give a response to the human.
Yeah, so it's not really artificial intelligence when you think about it.
It's just looking for
ultra.
data.
It's like an ultra data processor thing, which is actually better than Google in my opinion.
When it gets to the point where it can actually create and make its own decisions.
Like I'll be really impressed, right? If ChatGPT, right? If you teach it how to count from 0 to 10, right? And then it automatically knows how to do addition or multiplication without us having to program it.
Oh yeah.
Like it automatically thinks like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It conceptualizes what the number 1 is. It conceptualizes what the number 2 is. It conceptualizes what the number 3 is, and then it's able to add. So if you put 1 plus 3 together, you get 4. That'll be really impressive without having to go into the internet. Like being able to think. But right now, even though ChatGPT is not like where people think it is in terms of like, oh, it's an ultra artificial intelligence thing, I think is a step in a direction that we don't really want to go in. I think the way we've handled technology in the past years and years, with very few exceptions, I think the way we handle it at this magnitude has just demonstrated that we shouldn't. Look at nuclear weapons, right? We invent nuclear weapons with, they throw it on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? But we have nuclear reactors. I think that's one way of responsibly handling it. But that's one out of the millions of times that we almost went into war, and where everybody's afraid to go to war, and everybody's afraid that somebody might have nuclear weapons, and not to mention nuclear meltdowns. You know what I mean? That like Chernobyl and things like that. So I don't think humanity's ready for that. We've just demonstrated that we're not.
Yeah, well, I think they'll just continue developing it, and then they'll regulate it as it goes. Just like they're regulating, aren't they like doing something with the system, the money system?
Oh, the CBDC, central CBDC. Yeah.
Digital.
What do you think? So I don't want them to. I don't know. I don't want that to come true either, right? I think you heard my spiel on that, right?
Yeah, they'll basically, I think, control your money, right?
Yeah, so they'll force you to spend, or force you to save. They haven't said this outright, but when interest rates go low, they can't go below 0, right? Or people will take their money out. Obviously, if your bank told you, oh, we're gonna charge you whatever percentage to have money here, you'd be like, oh, I'm taking my money out. Well, with CBDC, you can't take it out because it's digital, right? So what happens is that they say, hey, we need to stimulate the economy. Right now, what they do is they print, they lower interest rates, right? Well, what if we just, instead of printing money, what if we just lower the interest rate so low, right? The digital currency, we lower it so low that it'll cost people money to not spend it. So that mixed with inflation is going to make people spend money. So you make people spend money to stimulate the economy against their will.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, I don't think CBDC. Again, people might be like, "Oh, this guy's not really like, bro. Like, none of these things are good for us." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of these things are good for us. And speaking of, I want to circle back to healthcare. What do you think? Should we have universal healthcare?
No,
no,
I don't think so, because I look at other countries, right? Like Canada, right?
Right.
They have universal healthcare, but the issue with that is, one, it doesn't, like, the way my brain works. I'm a capitalist, right? So, I look at the, competition, right? Mm-hmm. And also, like, if everyone has universal healthcare, it's gonna backtrack everyone. So what ends up happening is that a lot of patients end up going to, the same doctor.
Yeah.
And things get backed up. People that don't have the money, and versus people that do have money. And then what ends up happening is that someone that actually has money, it needs, a surgery at a certain time. There's so, like, the wait list gets, super long. People don't get tended, and people actually die.
I heard, or in some extreme cases, right? You hear that there's like these panels that determine if somebody's gonna get life-saving.
Yeah.
But I don't know how true that is. So look, I'm opposed to universal healthcare in America as we have the system right now. Right? We need to know, why is it so expensive in the first place? Number one. Why are these people charging this an egregious amount all the time? Number two. And what can people do in their own personal lifestyles so that they can live in such a healthy way, right? That they don't have to go to the doctor constantly.
Yeah.
Right? And the last one is, if you have universal health care, meaning, hey, you go to the doctors free all the time, you could do whatever you want. Well, and this is from Tim Dillon, actually. This part is not mine, but you can't have universal health care and unlimited pancakes at IHOP. Just it doesn't mix. You can't be allowed to eat whatever you want and not exercise and also get free health care.
Yeah.
So from a freedom perspective, I don't think universal healthcare should be a thing in that sense, because you're going to have to force people, or you're going to have to tell people what they can and can't eat. You're going to have to force people to exercise. And that's the thing. If I was in charge of the whole healthcare system, the first thing I would do is, why is healthcare so expensive, number one? I would find out, like, what like, you can tell me, you know how much a sandwich costs? Ham and cheese? Give me a more or less... throw a number out there. For California,
just ham and cheese.
Yeah, in California, how much do you think the sandwich costs?
So Cali, we're looking at $8.
Let's say, all right. So, but you can kind of guesstimate.
Yeah.
How much does a regular checkup to the doctor cost?
Oof, like over $100.
Nobody really knows. Yeah. Nobody can even come up with a clear answer.
I'm just It also depends where you're at too. What state are you in?
Yeah. So the thing is this: people who want free healthcare don't, for the most. I haven't seen anybody who wants free healthcare exactly living a healthy lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
that's one thing. And the other thing is, if I was in charge of the healthcare system, what I would do is I would leverage wearables, right? And then I would say, hey, look, how about this? Before we do anything free, making anything free should be the last resort. The first thing we do is, all right, you exercise according to your Fitbit, according to your Apple Watch, whatever. You exercise this many days, you do this. We're going to lower your premiums based on the exercise alone. So now you pay less insurance per month because you're less of a liability, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, they already have that in place when it comes to smoking. I think they charge you more, right, if you consider yourself a smoker.
Good.
But you say it's good, but you have to think about it this way, man. I was also looking at a study, right, a case study, that they're saying that in the next 5 years, over 50% of America, of the whole entire population, is going to be considered obese.
Yikes.
Over 50% in America.
But how on earth does that happen? And that's about...
You go to European countries, and it's crazy, because I have European friends that came over, and they're like, how do you have so many fat people?
That is insane. And you know what the crazy thing is too, right? Freaking, how do people like... If there's one thing that you're absolutely in control of, is your own body.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. A lot of people don't like hearing that.
Bro, like...
And if they do put wearables, like you said, they're going to be like, oh, it's against my right, against privacy, you're monitoring me.
But the thing is, then don't worry, but you're going to have to pay a higher
premium. They want both. They want the free healthcare, and they want to have, like...
They want to eat whatever they want.
Yeah, the freedom of, like, destroying their own health.
And it's like, no, bro. And then I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was like, I think we should have free universal healthcare because it'll force the government to regulate what we eat. Otherwise, it'll just drain the government's coffers, right?
But that's just putting the government more and more into your personal life.
And number two, when have you noticed the government would push between a hard place of making a tough decision or printing more money? When have they ever just made the hard decision and not printing more money?
Yeah, they just print more money.
They're going to print more money. Like, if we make universal healthcare a thing, right, and it comes to the point where people are just eating whatever they want and it's costing the system even more money, an already overburdened system even more money, instead of the government... Right now, the government doesn't even want to hurt nobody's feelings. The government's not out here saying, like, hey, yo, start exercising. The government just be like, well,
you keep coming to the doctor unhealthy.
It's your right as an American.
Keep eating what you're eating. Keep doing what you're doing. And we'll pay for the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll pay for the bill. The taxpayers, man.
And when people say free healthcare, folks, nothing is free. When they say the word free, they do that on purpose. It'll be a different reaction.
Like FDIC, they say it's free, but it's actually covered by the taxpayers. It's covered by bank fees, actually.
Bro, let me tell you this.
That's another thing we'll cover in the next episode.
Let me tell you this. The word free versus taxpayer funded. Those two words are the same thing in government speak. You know what I mean? But when the government says, oh, it'll be a taxpayer funded system, now people start saying, whoa, wait a minute, taxpayer? I'm a taxpayer. What do you mean taxpayer funded versus it's free? Well, people think this is free. Unless somebody exchanges their labor and expects nothing from you, it's not free. Just because you're not paying for it doesn't mean it's free.
Yeah. So, using the scenario we just said right now, right, universal healthcare, if we apply that to the educational system, we get the same result. People will just go to school and like drop out, and
it'll raise the prices too.
Yeah, they'll be like, you know what, I could just go back to school. They're paying for it. It's free.
So I'm not against universal free college, though, not like 100%. What I am against is, before we make anything free, again, we have to find out why is it expensive. Like if somebody says, oh, can you pay for this? And you say to yourself, well, why is it this expensive in the first place? Let me see, show me an itemized list of what you're paying for and why is it so expensive, and see if we can get it cheaper. Real quick history lesson. When the government got into the whole idea of college and saying, hey, we're going to guarantee these loans, what that did is it increased the demand for college. How did it increase the demand for college? Well, more people were able to get loans to go to school. Well, now you have an influx of people going to college. What does that do? That increases the demand, right? So now it increases the price. Demands go up, price go up. And that's why college is so expensive. That's one of the main reasons college is so expensive. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not gouging people either and charging crazy amounts of fees for nothing.
So that's the thing, man. If we do try to itemize and try to go to, the root problem, the people on top are not going to allow that, man. They're making too much money.
I think there's too much money in the administrative.
Too much money being made.
Yeah, dude.
And that goes for doctors, too.
Yeah, dude. And I would be like, yo, look, how about this? You guys exercise and you guys show us that you're eating healthy, we'll lower your premiums. And every time you go to the doctor, it'll be you have to pay way less than some guy who's not taking care. And it should be that way. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't care what you eat, if you don't care that you don't exercise, well, then you should pay more than the person who does. Why should the person who does exercise and takes care of themselves, why should their premiums go up to pay for the people who just don't? And
that's kind of a crazy and dangerous thing to do, because you have to look at America, right? Are the majority of Americans fit?
Not really.
So we have to cater for the majority, right? So we don't have to, but think about it this way. If we do apply that, right, that rule, like, hey, you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, then we're not going to pay for your universal health care. But if the majority are like, we're unhealthy, we don't qualify for that.
That's the thing, right?
Usually it comes back down to votes.
And some guy's going to come out and says, it's your right to not take care of yourself.
So they're going to be like, okay, the majority of the population is unhealthy, and the majority of the population equals votes, and I want to stay in power, so I have to cater to that.
I'm going to make it okay. Yeah.
So it's like, it goes back down to the people.
Yeah, just the whole thing about universal. People just say that word, oh, we should have universal healthcare. Well, no, we shouldn't. The healthcare system is already super expensive as it is.
Yeah.
The same thing as we just said in college. If you have universal healthcare, you just increase, and this drives me up the wall sometimes. We have a shortage of doctors. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Not many people are doctors the way we would like, right?
And pilots. We'll talk about that next episode, too.
Oh, jeez. But we have a shortage of doctors, right? And the medical, you go to an emergency room, you have to wait hours to get taken care of. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen if you quadruple the amount of demand you have for them almost overburdened medical system? The quality of healthcare is going to decrease.
Yeah, they're going to just have to take care of patients without actually, giving them quality care.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. And I think before we say universal anything, we first find out why healthcare is expensive. We find out why can't people buy health insurance the same way you buy car insurance. We got to find out if we can lower premiums based on exercises, based on what people eat, based on people's lifestyles, things like that.
They should invest more in preventative care.
Why are we investing in preventative care?
Yep.
Why don't we say, hey, look, we're gonna subsidize broccoli, we're gonna subsidize eggs, we're gonna subsidize carrots, we're gonna subsidize all the healthy stuff, so it can be cheaper for you guys to buy it.
But I don't like vegetables.
Well, but
you're gonna have those people, man.
Then tough, man.
And the majority, I think, I would like to hope that the majority of Americans are not like that. But
bro, think about that. You subsidize all healthy foods, right? And then you quadruple the price of all unhealthy foods.
It's crazy because it's actually the opposite here. And anything that's organic is more expensive.
Yeah. You quadruple the price of unhealthy food. So if you wanna eat unhealthy, well, you gotta pay more. And you got to pay more in healthcare, and on top of that,
Do you think they can do that? Do you think they can make organic food cheaper versus non-organic?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why organic food is more expensive?
I don't know what the reason is, but if we're going to talk about subsidies, government subsidies, right? Then the government should.
Oh, if they step in,
subsidize healthier food, and tax unhealthy food, the same way we tax cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that way you kind of incentivize people to eat healthy food, right? And then now we're getting the ball rolling a little bit, right? Now it's like, all right, if you guys want to participate in some form of universal health care, we're gonna subsidize a Fitbit for you guys. You gotta wear it all the time, except when you take a shower, right? And we need to see you taking 10,000 steps a day.
Damn, bro, I don't know if they're gonna do that.
I just don't have any other solution of what we could think of. You know what I mean? What are you gonna say?
Think about it. People, there's gyms available for people to go to. I don't see someone wearing a wearable that's provided by the government. People are just lazy, man. The majority of people are lazy.
I'm not a big government guy, but I don't see any solution to this. And just to say, and if you give me a choice between,
do you think it has something to do with the culture and fast food and all that other stuff? Because we have to see, Europeans supposedly are known for being, either fit or not obese at least, right? We have to see, is it the culture?
I don't know, man. I don't know, right? I don't know. What I can tell you is this, and what annoys me is this: some lady, one of Joe Biden's his Surgeon General, some medical professional
from his administration.
Yeah, I don't know. She's like, kids.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, kids are obese because of the genetics. I mean, look
crazy.
But it's nuts. They'll be like, well, look at the parents. The parents are obese. Look at the kids. The kids are obese. Obviously, it's genetics. It's obviously right there. Like,
that is insane.
Ma'am. Could it be possible that the parent does not eat healthy, and as a result, that lifestyle trickles down to the kid, and the kid is not eating healthy? You get what I'm saying?
It's just instead of having a caloric deficit, they're just eating more calories and they're just getting fat.
Yeah, and it's like, and you don't want to. You say that because you don't want to hurt their feelings. It's like, sometimes, bro, we're not here for bullying people. We don't think people should be bullied. We don't think, but if you see somebody, there's no such thing as alcoholic positivity, or you know what I mean, or heroin positivity.
But that's the thing that now it's accepted in society right now that it's okay to be obese and unhealthy. Because they feel attacked, even though it has nothing to do about trying to make you feel bad. It's just the fact that it's unhealthy. It's detriment to your health. You could die.
That's something. That's a line that we just gotta draw. We gotta be like, look, man. The idea of being a body, the whole body positive movement, right? The initial idea is like, hey, you look like this. Doesn't mean you should hate yourself. Love yourself. The next sentence of that people probably forget. Love yourself enough to take care of yourself, right? But instead of loving ourselves enough to take care of ourselves, what ends up happening is people just end up just whatever they put. No universal health care until people know how to act like mature, responsible adults who know how to take care of themselves.
We also have to have good leadership, man. We have to have people that are actually, guiding us in the right direction instead of saying it's genetic. It's like, no, you're eating too much.
Yeah, dude.
You're eating unhealthy food, and that's why you're obese.
It should be straightforward, right? But
yeah.
At this point, it's evil, bro. You know what I think it's evil?
Yeah, I think so.
I think every time somebody tries to take something and confuse it and muddy the waters, it's because there's some kind of agenda there that's not good. What is a woman, right? Like those type of scenarios. It's genetics. It's not what they eat. It's genetics. The jab and how it was handled and what doctors were saying and what doctors weren't saying. I think whenever there's people muddying the waters, is there's an agenda that's not good. There's just no question about it. You know what I mean? But yeah. So for the whole thing with universal healthcare, I'm gonna say this, and I think Jay, you agree. I think we should make universal healthcare a thing until right we find out how the system works. I don't think anybody even knows how the healthcare system works from beginning to end.
I think the people on top do know.
They know enough to make money, I think. Right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you go into the doctor, right? He checks, let's say you don't even get any blood work done. He or she checks, gives you a checkup. Oh, okay, you're good to go. You go home. Well, then you get a bill, $220. Now, give me an itemized bill. Is that like the doctor? Obviously, the doctor's going to charge a lot of money per hour. It's the labor cost. You know what I mean? All those things.
The lab as well.
If they have a lab, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's another thing too. How much does it cost to get blood work done? We want all that. We want all that on the list, and it has to be a standard across the board. Like, hey, look, or average, right? Because you can walk into a place and you can kind of guess how much a sandwich would be.
Yeah.
Depending on, but nobody knows. And
I think a lot of people are going to be upset if that comes to light. Because you're going to see certain organizations, certain corporations
healthcare corporations make money hand over
billions, bro.
And so
crazy.
Yeah, dude. Obviously, the best thing you could do. I try to avoid healthcare system as much as I can.
Yeah, same here.
I gotta go for a checkup. I haven't done that. Typical male in a typical male identified fashion.
Yeah, I do get lab work done because it doesn't involve me taking medications. More like, let me know how everything is, versus I'm sick or something.
Yeah.
Prescribe me something.
I gotta do that. I gotta do that too, man. And really quickly on the topic of healthcare, when people talk about being depressed, right? Now, I don't like. I mean, I hear stories sometimes. Somebody goes through a life event, and they're depressed, and then they go to like a therapist or something, and the therapist prescribes them drugs. Like, whoa, hold on, man. Like, how's that any different than a drug dealer prescribing or an alcoholic drinking, right?
Yeah.
I think the whole thing with therapy, too, I don't know how that works, but I feel like depression, right? If you're depressed over a life event, you should not be getting prescribed drugs, all right? I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm not trying to, come across as somebody who knows. But if something happens to you and you get depressed about it, that's a natural, normal, expected response.
Yeah. You
shouldn't get drugs. If
it becomes unhealthy when it's prolonged and you keep, you're in that state of mind.
But even as a doctor, if I was a doctor and I'm not, I would recommend, hey, look, go outside more, get more sleep, watch your diet. You know what I mean? If you're depressed and you don't know why, and you have everything good, a doctor should ask, how's your sleeping? Are you getting enough vitamin D? Are you taking walks? Are you exercising? Let's try all that, and if that doesn't work, then we start prescribing something.
Yeah, because they sometimes, what I've seen, they say you have a chemical disbalance in your brain.
Supposedly that was disproven.
I don't know, man. All I know is that they start you with a small dosage, and the next thing you know, you're like hooked to a drug, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to be on that without first trying, like the holistic approaches, walking, not drinking, sleeping better, eating better, yoga, things like that. The kind of music I would even say that you listen to, you gotta be careful with that. Freaking, who Andrew Bustamante is?
No, who's Andrew Bustamante?
CIA guy. Some CIA guy making the rounds. He looks like he's a Hispanic cat.
Oh, wait. I think I've seen him. Does he have kind of long hair?
Yeah.
He's like an ex-CIA agent?
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't think there's any such thing as ex-CIA agent, if you ask me, though. I think once you're an agent, you're always an agent for life. But he said something really interesting regarding UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. I forgot what podcast he was on.
And also, Bustamante, if you're hearing us, man, if you want to ever feature on our podcast, just... comment or we'll
share, like, and subscribe, baby. Share, like, and subscribe.
But yeah, what did you hear about the UFOs?
Dude, it is crazy. He's like, yo, I'm paraphrasing here. And I kind of agree with him on this, and I think this is what happened.
What was he in charge of? Was he in charge of like a nuclear part of the CIA program or something? But he did have like top secret clearance.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I think those CIA guys don't go on these podcasts unless they get the okay from higher ups to start talking. Yeah. No, I don't care.
No, I've seen him in a few podcasts where they're asking him certain questions. He didn't answer some of the questions. I can't answer. That's confidential.
Yeah. So what he said, and this is, and I think these CIA guys brush shoulders or kind of like come in contact with certain people who know about UFO stuff.
Yeah.
But he said it. He absolutely nailed it in his hypothetical of how an alien invasion would look like. And this is what I believe in too. If you try to invade a country, right? You want the resources of the country, right? You just don't walk in and start shooting stuff up, because then you run the risk of ruining the country and messing up the resources, right?
Yeah.
What you do is you befriend some of the leaders or some chosen people of the country, right, who have enough power. You make them promises, you give them stuff, and then in turn, they drive the country and the country's policy in a direction that benefits you, right, the possible opposing country. Well, scale that out to like a galactic level. If aliens were invading, and I think they not only do I think aliens already invaded.
Do you think they're invaded or they're like a survival mode?
I'll get to that really shortly. Number one, I think the aliens been invaded. I think they've been in control.
And how long do you think?
Years. I think.
We were talking about like the Roman Empire times.
No. So this one, it's from Nazi Germany around that time.
So you don't think prior to that?
Look, I think there were multiple species. I think the species that's in control right now is the one that has been since like pre-Nazi Germany, like around that time when the Nazis had a UFO that crashed into like some forest or whatever.
And the reason I'm asking you this is because like if that species landed here or got here or was already here at a certain point, there was a point where humanity was really, really vulnerable. You know what I mean? So if they would have gone to that point where we were on no cavemen, they could have just taken over and say, we don't have to negotiate with them. Like they have nothing. That's the thing. They're primitive.
So here's what happened. Here's what's going on with these specific species. They have low numbers. I think they have low numbers because something happened. They messed up their genetics. They're like, according to, his name was John Lear, an interview that I heard with John Lear and I think Robert Knapp or something like that. These beings, their digestive system is messed up. They can't really eat like that no more. So I don't know how they eat, but they have a genetic dead end where they can't reproduce anymore. And if they could reproduce, it has to be through genes and endocrine and certain endocrinological experiments.
Yeah.
So humans and some of the life forms on Earth are rich in those type of resources, genetic resources. So they kidnap humans, right? And they siphon off some of the resources, and then they make hybrids, gray and human hybrids, right, to kind of help their species continue. Because right now, their species is at a dead end. They don't have the numbers for it. They don't have the numbers to fight a war, even if they wanted to.
So if that's true, what happens once all the pure breeds are gone and they're all hybrids? Then what?
I think that's good for them. I think that
is that what they want? They're okay with that?
They have no choice. And I think, if I was a betting man, it's like, well, we got the hybrids now, but how do we make pure breeds now? So you take two hybrids and you kind of take what makes them a gray and what makes them a human, and you separate it and you try to make. You got 50-50, and then you mix that, and then you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, or you take a half human hybrid and a full gray, and you kind of like mix those genetic materials, and whatever parts help them survive on Earth is what they keep.
I'm guessing this species probably is really, really good at travel, right?
Yeah, I don't know where they came from or how they even got here, or if they've been here since forever.
Do you think they've like shared their travel technology?
So actually, to get
like fully, or they're
no. So what they did, and I'm convinced that this is what they did. What they did, first they reached out to Nazi Germany, okay? They reached out to Hitler and those people and those absolute the monsters, right? Those absolute monster Nazis, and they promised them certain technologies, right? If they let them take certain people, okay?
Yeah.
Obviously, you saw how that turned out. I don't know what happened. I don't know how Germany just went crazy or whatever, started invading. They lost the war. The Greys were like, oh, hold up. They stepped back, right? The next thing is, well, they go to America now, and they say to America, yo, let us.
Sorry to cut you off. Do you think America was already aware?
Yeah. So Harry S. Truman.
But they had no communication with them.
They had no communication.
Oh.
They had no communication. Somehow, I don't know how they were able to negotiate a meeting with each other. They actually met with each other, and it was like I think Eisenhower. I think I said this before. Eisenhower met with them, and it was like, yo. They were like, yo, let us take some people for those reasons. We need some of the genetic material because their bloodline is dying, their race is going extinct, and they need to do something. Let us take some of your people. All right, we'll put them back. We're gonna take them. You ever heard those stories? People get kidnapped and they shove needles up at them and they take ovaries and all that stuff.
When they come back and they're like, "Oh, I had a crazy experience."
Yeah. So they take the people, they do the thing, and they put them back. The deal was, okay, you can take them, but you got to bring them back, and we keep a list of who gets kidnapped. It's no secret. I don't know if you've heard this part where after people get kidnapped or abducted by aliens and they come back down to Earth, they get a knock on the door by what's called the Men in Black.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the government investigating to make sure the person actually came back and to make sure they're okay.
Okay, it's like a follow up.
I think initially, I think they're not good people anymore, but whatever the case is. So what happened was Eisenhower, of course, like, no, you're crazy. We're not giving you that stuff. And they were like, well, if you don't, we're going to go to Russia and we're going to give them weapons in exchange for their people. So they're like, all right, you know what? So what we're going to do is this. Wait a second. What we're going to do is this. You give us technology so that we can stay ahead of the Russians, and in exchange, you can kidnap people and abduct people and take some of their genetic material and stuff like that. And they were like, bet. But we're not going to help you reverse engineer technology all the way. Not only that, but these beings had like the iPhone 14, right? But they were giving the United States like the Nokia flip phone.
You don't think we had enough leverage to say, no, give us everything?
No, I don't think we did. And even if we did, it'd be like, well, they have advanced technology that we can use against. Remember, this is peak Cold War season. That we can use against the aliens. You know what we're going to do? Let's just say, yeah, we don't have a choice. If we don't, they're going to give it to the Russians. The Russians are going to invade us. And way more people are going to get deleted.
It makes me wonder, what if all the nations came together and were like, no, we're going to make the aliens give us everything?
That's the thing. What happens is, the small group of people that they made contact with the UFOs, eventually they started reverse engineering the technology and they started making some breakthroughs. But then they're separated from the government and they have their own stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I have a theory as well. Like, was it that they landed in Germany first, and that's why they collaborated with Germany first, or was it because they saw Germany as a better bet, and so they chose them first? Because at that time, America was still a superpower, or getting to be a superpower.
Well, it wasn't that they landed. The craft crash landed on German soil. The Germans retrieved it, and they were trying to reverse engineer it.
Oh, so it was just luck that it landed there, because it could have landed in Antarctica or something.
There are some UFOs in Antarctica actually that have landed in Antarctica. Funny you mention that, but yeah, I think it was on purpose.
We'll get more into that. Next episode.
I think it was on purpose though that the UFO crash landed in the forest in Germany. The Germans somehow reverse engineered it. The Germans somehow had pretty advanced for the time weapons and technology and all that stuff. And the Germans were one of a global superpower. They were growing to be a global superpower, or became a superpower, possibly as a result of that. So,
do you think there's other species out there that are like not friends?
Of course, yeah, of course. And I think going all the way back to my point, those aliens already infiltrated the highest levels of government, right? And as a result, the government that we see here is just a show. The actual shadow government that deals and works with these beings, they're the ones calling all the shots. They're the ones kind of driving humanity to a certain point, and I think they're the ones driving division so that humans don't get along. If you were to take me and plot me in, let's say, China, and I was talking to a regular Chinese guy, and I'd ask him, what do you want? Chances are that, I want my family to be well, I want to make sure we're all okay, blah, blah. I'm like, I want that too. Why can't we all get together and be like, hey, we all want the same thing here? What's going on here? Why am I fighting with you and we all want the same thing? Is it that you think I'm going to take it away from you? I think personally, it's the shadow government working with extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings. And I don't care how crazy I sound. I'm convinced that this is what it is. There was a secret invasion that happened. It wasn't with guns blazing. It was subversion of government. through CIA agents, through FBI agents, through certain military people, right?
How did they cover all that up?
Because it's 100 of us, let's say, right?
Did they fight like in a desert somewhere or something?
No. Well, actually, they did, but that's a different story. It's 100 of us, right? 2 of us know what's really going on. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's all they need. All they need is the right people to know what's going on, and the right people to call the shots, and the right people to push policies a certain way. Like, hey, Jay, let's not use a MacBook. Let's use a Windows laptop. And like, okay, I don't see what the big difference is, but it's my boy Bill Gates. So if my boy Bill Gates can get paid, and in turn Bill Gates gives me some money. You don't know why I chose a Microsoft.
Yeah.
You have some wacko saying that, oh, this guy Jay is working with Bill Gates. Bill Gates doesn't even know Jay. What are you talking about? But in reality, it's like, I'm working with Bill Gates. We're going to put Microsoft Windows here. He gets paid. He gets what he wants. I get a little bit of what I want. And you're annoyed because now you have to do now you have to do your video editing on Microsoft instead of Apple.
Do you think aliens have some sort of AI technology too?
I don't know, dude. I have no clue.
Or is that more like of a human thing?
I have no clue, man. I have no clue. I don't know what. All I can tell you is that, yeah, humanity has been secretly invaded. 100%. Humanity has been invaded by other beings, for whatever reason. Some for our genetic material. They kidnap people. I think I don't know if they even bringing them back anymore. I think they're just keeping them now. Before you were supposed to bring them back, now they're not bringing them back no more. And I think, I don't know if this is the same group or if there's another group of extraterrestrial beings that feed off of like human emotion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
another thing, like, I think there's like other planets out there that are probably similar to Earth, right? Do you think they're doing that like across the entire like galaxy?
So maybe, I don't know, if you want to believe Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Yeah.
He says that human beings, there's something special about human beings. I know it's egotistical, right? Because we're all human beings. There's something special about the human race that they want for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of the whole, our ability to, our thoughts kind of like is able to create reality in a weird way. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. But there's no, it's not even a question. Human race has been subverted.
So you think that at the top layer of the government, there's no one that's actually just pure human and is actually looking out for the best of humanity? It's like, oh, I'm dealing with the aliens for now, but I have an end game for us.
I don't think so.
Or you don't think so?
I don't think so.
Or the aliens are like on top and that's it. Like they're the ones that are playing the cards.
The aliens are cowards, right? The Greys are cowards. But the thing is that, they're giving us like stuff. They're giving us weapons that we can use against possibly other extraterrestrial beings that can really come over.
You don't think like at one point? Oh, that's very true. You don't think at one point like the government was like, you know what, like we're playing back and forth games, like we want everything.
Yeah. So what happened was, Dulce, New Mexico, right? There's a lab in Dulce, New Mexico, and we're gonna wrap it up with this. There's a lab in Dulce, New. I don't know if you ever heard of like the Battle of Dulce, New Mexico, where that is exactly what happened. The United States government was like, yo, enough of this nonsense. We're tired of this. You guys keep taking people, and you guys don't, you guys just keep doing whatever you want. You're not communicating with us the way you're supposed to. They send a bunch of, I think, Green Berets and some Delta Force people.
Do you think they told them like where you're gonna deal with, or?
I don't know. I don't know if they were like, yo, bring these guns. It's an exercise.
Right.
You man, like, bring these guns. It's an exercise.
Some weird looking things.
And they're like, okay, yeah, use rubber bullets and take the safety off and be really quiet. And if you see anything, just shoot it. Don't ask no questions. Shoot. Like, that's a weird exercise. But basically, it was like, yo, we want you guys off this planet. The freak out of here. And
so we got fed up with them.
Yeah, and the response kind of was like, what you gonna do about it? And I guess the Greys weren't cowards like people thought they were. Like,
yeah. And
they started shooting at them. It was like a back and forth shootout. And a couple of Delta forces did end up being deleted. But the reason they did that was because I think there was a UFO crash that occurred. And in that crash, they recovered alien bodies. But they also recovered human bodies that were already dismembered. Human bodies.
You're saying the president was aware of this at the time?
So, no, not that president at the time. Initially, Eisenhower was aware of what was going on, right? But then the next president comes in, and he's kind of, sort of aware of what's going on, but not completely. And then the next president comes in.
Well, where do you think the disconnect happened, and why?
JFK. The disconnect happened during JFK. So, damn, dude, this is a lot of stuff. So, apparently, there was something called the secret space program that the initial the initial U.S. government that came in contact with UFOs started developing technology, right? But they didn't want to put it out to the public. But Lockheed Martin, Boeing, all those people had a vested interest in continuing to develop it, right? They had a secret space program. They were able supposedly to go to the moon and back and all that stuff with some weird ships that they managed to reverse engineer. JFK was like, "No, we're not gonna do this, man. We're gonna put a stop to this. We're gonna start our own stuff. We're gonna develop our own space program." So he kept developing, or he kept funding, I think, the moon landing missions and stuff like that, kind of as a response to what he suspected was a breakaway shadow secret space program organization. And so what happened with him? And that's where the ultimate disconnect happened. After that,
wow. So the next administration that came in weren't aware?
They weren't aware, or they were kind of, hey, yeah, Roswell, forget about it. The government's on top. We're on top of that. Don't worry. And so,
but back to that battle that you were mentioning. Who won that battle?
I think we did, because like I said, man, they're outnumbered. They don't have enough. They don't have the numbers.
So if we're at a point where we beat them, we don't have to work with them anymore.
It was a disconnect. I'm almost convinced that the people who sent the soldiers in there, was because like, oh wait, something's going off. Is not the same person that allowed those aliens to be there in the first place. I think that's the first time that.
And they're like rebel aliens.
No, I think that's the first time that the United States, the true United States that we know, came in contact with the breakaway civilization version of the United States, right? And so it was like the groups like, what are you talking about? We have permission to be here. We're not getting out of here.
Yeah.
Somebody gave them permission to be there. It wasn't the real United States. It was the Majestic 12 people or whatever.
Oh, so wait, what are the Majestic 12, man?
Guys, we're gonna have to wrap it up here.
What are the Majestic?
This is a lot. It's a lot, guys. We're gonna wrap it up here, but I'll tell you you can look at the Majestic 12 as like the what people call them as the human council between humanity and extraterrestrial.
Why 12? Is there 12 of them?
Yeah, and they're like engineers and scientists or whatever. But
are they individual people or families?
No, they're people. They're people. Okay. Some people consider their families, but.
And how are they replaced?
That's a good question. I don't know, but maybe I do, and you're gonna have to tune in next week to find out if you guys are interested. We kind of went on a rant here.
No, this is good. It's good stuff, man. I'm sure that the audience, the people, they want to know the truth, or they want to know.
Yeah.
All the information that's out there.
For those of you who are curious, look up the TR3B Aurora, okay? That's a triangle UFO. That one is ours. By ours, I mean humanity's, okay? That one is ours. That one we developed. That one is the one that we reverse engineered with crashed Roswell technology. And possibly the one what we found in...
Do you think it's advanced, or it's probably like an old model that the aliens had, you think?
No, that one's ours.
Or we created based on their technology?
Based off their technology. If you guys notice with the TR3B Auroras, there's like a red circle under the Aurora. That's Mercury. Apparently the Nazis discovered a way to either magnetize Mercury or whatever to the point where it starts displaying anti-gravity. Yeah, so it starts levitating up without any combustion. But that's the podcast, folks. Jay, you got anything else to say?
No, that's it, guys. Just tune in for next week. Hopefully, they don't come after us. Majestic 12. But yeah, we'll keep you, up to date with the latest trends and also, history as well, man. I learned a lot today, man. Thanks, Jay.
It's a lot. If you guys are interested in the UFO stuff, man, I love to talk about the UFO stuff. Me, actually, being a believer in Christ, I find the UFO stuff really, really interesting.
Yeah, man.
But all right, guys, you guys take care, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.